it's a gut check. It's who are you? Who you say you are? And I know this team is. I know these players are. I know our coaches are. And we've got so much faith and belief in Sean and everyone else. And we're going to get right back on track.
Was it a humbling day for us? Absolutely. But it's something that we're going to learn from. We're not going to let it demoralize us. That's a good football team. They did a nice job. We didn't do enough collectively, and we'll all look inwardly, and we'll figure out how to be better moving forward.
That was Jared Goff, followed by Sean McVay after the Rams were beaten soundly by the 49ers on Sunday, 20-7. It is Goats of the Week draft. Goats in a bad way. Apparently, the younger crowd thinks GOAT only means good. It doesn't. It means bad. And the bad performances that defined Week 6 coming up. Peter King will answer the trivia question to determine whether he or Chris Simms will get the first pick. Peter, the Ravens are on pace to set the record for team rushing yards in a single season. The current record was set in 1978 by which NFL team?
The Minnesota Vikings.
It was the New England Patriots, who actually didn't even have one single player who rushed for 800 yards. So it was spread around. I guess Steve Grogan chipped in with his horse. He wore that neck roll. And was 78? Was Grogan in 78? I think Grogan was in 78. All right. So, Chris, you get the first pick.
All right. Well, I think if I got to go Goats of the Week here, I got to start off with a guy that I still like and got a lot of faith in. But Baker Mayfield, I think, is going to lead the charge for me right away. In Cleveland, home game, big moment. Seattle Seahawks. You got them down 20-6. All those things, and it's looking good. And then to go on to throw 3 interceptions and let Seattle, of course, come back to win that football game. That's a bad moment. Those are the type of games. Listen, I know it's the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll and how great they are, but you'd like to see your quarterback deliver in those type of moments to, them come out on top and win the game. And Baker Mayfield, whether it was forcing the ball in the end zone that got intercepted or throwing this ball to a running back that was, 2 to 3 feet behind him. Hey, running backs, you got to put the ball right beneath their chin, right on their numbers. They're running backs for a reason. They're not wide receivers. They're not used to receiving the ball in that capacity. So as much as I like Baker Mayfield and think he's talented, I got to go with him for the GOAT of the Week.
Peter, who you got?
Give me Matt Bryant, the Atlanta kicker who I believe just celebrated his 74th birthday. Had made 163 of 166 PATs since the NFL moved the PAT line back 4 years ago. 163 out of 166. And he shankopotamus this kick so badly and forced Dan Quinn to have a 4-hour flight home wondering whether he was still going to be the head coach when he got off the plane. He is. That might be temporary. But Matt Bryant is my no doubt overall in a week of tremendous GOATs. Matt Bryant is easily my GOAT of the week as the Falcons lost by 1 point. That 1 point in the desert.
Yeah, that was a stunner, and that was a great game, and I believe the Cardinals were going to win just because the Atlanta defense is so bad, but they had a chance to maybe push it to overtime, and it's on Matt Bryant that Dan Quinn didn't get one opportunity to win a game before he's got Rams and Seahawks back-to-back before I think he goes farewell during the bye week. For me, I'm going over to London, where Jameis Winston is inching closer and closer to the end of his career in Tampa Bay. What a horrible showing from him with 5 interceptions. He was sacked 7 times. All the progress he's made. And this is kind of how it is for him. The balloon will get blown up gradually, and then all of a sudden it just pops. And it popped big time on Sunday to the point where you do have to wonder, is he going to get benched at some point this year? Would they put Blaine Gabbert in when Gabbert's healthy? But for now, Winston still will be the quarterback. But he looked horrible in that game, and they still could have won. It was 37-26. If he doesn't make all those mistakes, if he gets rid of the ball faster, if he avoids the things that Gerald McCoy knew he was going to do, like step up in the pocket repeatedly and set himself up for those hits, it may have gone differently. But that's it feels like that's it for Jameis Winston, even though he's still going to have some chances to try to turn this thing around.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, certainly. I do think, he was under tremendous pressure, so I want to give him a little benefit of the doubt there. But, yeah, that was ugly. And it's just still a little bit of an unawareness at times with people around him and when to just say, know when to hold him and know when to fold him, and he just doesn't know when to fold him sometimes. Okay, my second GOAT of the week would be Zach Brown, the ex-linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, the guy that talked all that crap about Kirk Cousins and that he can't beat you and blah, 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 okay? And then, oh, yeah, he can't beat you. Well, he torched your ass, I'm pretty sure, on Sunday, so he can beat you. And then, to add to it, to not want to answer questions about it after the game and be annoyed that I'm sick of this from players. They got to stop this. You can't say stuff and then be like, what are you talking about, media? How dare you question me on this? I mean, damn. I mean, you can't do that. You can't be mad that the media wants to ask you questions about crap you said and need to be accountable for, and now it's been thrown back into your face, and you don't want to talk about it. No, then throwing the challenge flag, Alan Riveron said that's BS, and you can't do that. That's against the man rule, the football rules, all of it. He should have been maybe my first pick, but I didn't think you guys would go there, so I sandbagged you.
That's not a bad pick. Mike, my second pick is going to be Marcus Mariota. And I'm gonna dovetail a little bit on what you talked about. I mean, first of all, his stats in the game were horrible, and he got yanked. 7 of 18, 63 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. And this continues a 4.5-year trend. That for every one game that you see Marcus Mariota play, that just say, man, he looks like the long-term answer, he'll give you 3 games where you say, there's no way we can give this guy a second contract. And whereas I think it is still maybe 55-45 yes that the Bucs right now as of today give Jameis Winston another contract, not a long one, but another contract to be their starter, sort of a bridge contract. I think the Tennessee Titans are going to shake hands with Marcus Mariota after this year, give him his gold watch, and wish him the best, and he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got yanked for Ryan Tannehill at Denver. We felt it coming a couple of weeks ago in that Thursday night game against Jacksonville. It didn't happen then. It finally has occurred. And Mike Vrabel, the coach of the Titans, due to be announcing soon who the starting quarterback will be this weekend. Not that it's making much of a difference for the Titans after that great win week 1 against Cleveland. They are 1-4. All right, I'm going to stick with the quarterback theme. I mean, when I saw that Jared Goff had 78 passing yards against the 49ers, I thought it was a typo. I thought it was a misprint. I thought there was a 1 or a 2 or a 3 missing. But 78 yards, and I know he was under relentless assault all day long, but just like we said with Jameis Winston, you got to make quicker decisions. You got to get rid of the football. And I think what really was underscored on Sunday, when you take away the threat of Todd Gurley, even though Todd Gurley isn't a workhorse anymore, when you take away the threat that is always there, because Todd Gurley does still have a high level of skill, that made it easier to tee off on Jared Goff, to cover the receivers, and to not have to worry about the running game. And when you're not worried about the Rams' running game, Jared Goff looks pretty darn ordinary. And the difference between the Rams, the Bucs, and the Titans is the Bucs and the Titans can still avoid paying big money to Winston and Mariota. The Rams have already paid the big money to Goff.
Yeah, I had a feeling you guys might go there. Man, they really ruined what I wanted to do here with my next pick, because I really wanted to make the Rams offensive line my go. And you know what? I'm still going to do it. The hell with your pick, Florio, okay? I'm going to make the Rams offensive line. I understand what you're saying. I get it. You'd like your franchise quarterback to make a few plays and do things like that. But still, I just got to say something about that O-line. They just got absolutely obliterated and steamrolled in that football game. In the run game, in the pass game. I mean, it didn't matter if it was Havenstein, Whitworth, the interior offensive linemen. They all took turns getting their butts whooped yesterday. So I'm not trying to argue your Jared Goff point, but either way, that was a pitiful showing by them. They were completely dominated in both phases, run and pass protection. And the 49ers, that was a big reason that they won the football game. They just did not match the physicality of that 49ers front, and that was a huge thing.
I want to give this my last GOAT, and I'm gonna sort of carpet bomb the entire officiating crew of Clete Blakeman's crew in last night's game, because I think there were enough calls in the game, including 2 lousy calls of phantom calls again in the first half of this game, and then obviously in the second half, the 2 phantom Trey Flowers penalties. And, I know that after the game, Blakeman spoke. He said they were the fault of the umpire who threw those flags. But I just look at this. An officiating crew is a team effort. And that was a bad team performance by that crew. So I'm giving it to the entire Clete Blakeman crew for the game at Green Bay last night.
Yeah, I think that's a good call because there were too many bad calls, and they didn't even out. Aaron Rodgers said, well, the bad calls even out over the years. They definitely did not even out last night. The Packers got the benefit. Now, I'm struggling with my last one. I still want to go back to Pat Shurmur from last Thursday because I'm still it's mind-boggling that he punted on 4th and 2 down 14 with 7 minutes left in the game just to avoid a bad headline that he lost by 21 and he still lost by 21. But that was Thursday. Let's focus on the weekend that was. I got to give it to Anthony Lynn. I wanted to pick somebody from the Chargers. I was going to go Phillip Rivers, and you could go, but ultimately the coach is the one who's got to get the team ready. And that team just wasn't ready for a primetime game, a big game. And I think Anthony Lynn is a great coach, and he should have gotten greater consideration last year for Coach of the Year. And I think he can still turn it around. And we hear all the time about how great his coaching staff is. It just feels like the Chargers, week by week, are not ready to play. They weren't ready to play against the Broncos. They weren't ready to play at home against the Steelers. And I just don't understand how a team that went 12-4 last year has all of a sudden lost it. And I feel like that game that we saw on Sunday night, one team was ready to play and the other team was not. Mike Tomlin had his team ready. Anthony Lynn did not. And so I got to make Anthony. I do it reluctantly, because I like the guy, and I think he's a great coach, and he shouldn't be anywhere close to the hot seat. But performances like last night, that's going to get you on the hot seat, guys.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think we all blew it by not picking the Chiefs' defense, too. That's another one that we probably put in there. I mean, it's 2 weeks in a row. They can't even get, the MVP of football on the field in the second half.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.